is 17%. Plus, the rate of all cancers in Windsor-Essex also tops Ontario's average, with a significant spike in lung cancer locally.
It's just a matter of time, and if we lose our guard, we are putting all those people who are at a higher number in our region at risk, and can potentially overwhelm the entire healthcare system and may have more severe outcomes.
Ahmed calls the second wave inevitable. Areas of the province are in the midst of it right now, but in Windsor, today's COVID count is still in the single digits, 6 new cases today. Still, Ahmed says COVID fatigue worries him, and it could play a role in people with comorbidities being affected more this time around.
Going back to the natural tendency of people that if the symptoms are mild, people will not go and get tested, knowing that they may feel that that they may not have it.
Windsor Regional Hospital says people with underlying health conditions contributed to a lot of the COVID hospitalization locally, and there's not much they can do to prepare or mitigate that number.
All we can do at the hospital right now is be ready, be prepared for anybody that comes in who's sick.
The high rate of comorbidity in Windsor-Essex has been a long-standing issue, and Saad says it would take years, even decades, to correct. That's through education and better access to primary health care, because some areas, he says, are still underserviced. Jason Vio, CBC News, Windsor.
The health unit continues to update potential locations where people may have been exposed to COVID-19. They say that the risk of transmission is considered low, but they say that there have been exposures. At Value Village on Walker Road, that would have been between September 25th and 26th. The Amherstburg Walmart, another location between September 25th and 30th. And the Dougal Avenue Walmart on September 21st and 26th. Officials say you should monitor yourself for symptoms for 14 days from your potential exposure date. 6 new cases of COVID-19 in Windsor, Essex announced this morning. Let's take a look at how we stack up with the province. Now, this chart here that we're about to show you is going to show the 7-day rolling average. Experts like to use it because it's a consistent measure. Blue, that's Windsor, Essex. Red, that's the entire province. We're starting from the beginning of August. And as you can clearly see, we make up a small fraction of the big increase in daily cases across Ontario. Today, Ontario recorded 548 new COVID-19 cases, and with Thanksgiving weekend approaching, officials were asked how Ontarians should go about marking that holiday. And it left the Premier having to clarify his own family's plans. Our Queen's Park reporter, Mike Crawley, has more.
Another busy day at Ontario's assessment centres. By making all testing appointment only, the province is gradually catching up on its backlog in the labs. And meanwhile, the number of COVID-19 patients in Ontario's hospitals is growing. It's now 4 times what it was in mid-September.
Thanksgiving is kind of make or break it. Just please hang in there.
Welcome! As the province heads toward the long weekend, people are wondering whether it's safe to gather the family for Thanksgiving dinner.
Thanksgiving dinners are risky based on a number of different factors. It's indoors. You are in close contact with people for a prolonged period of time. And we also see the dinner table, interestingly, is a higher risk of transmission because people are together and they're talking, and they don't wear masks, of course, because you're eating.
The Premier mentions his own Thanksgiving plans.
I told Carla, I said, and she knows, we have no more than 10, and simple as that.
Since the Premier's family members don't all live under his roof, that doesn't quite mesh with the guidance from the province's top doctors.
For Thanksgiving, we are recommending that you limit it this year to your household.
Ford is then asked to clarify.
So if you play it back, I said stick within your household. Your household, that's what I said. So
let's play it back.
Stick within 10 people. What we're asking. Try to stay within the family.
Asked a third time about his plans for Thanksgiving, Ford says he has to check with home.
But I'll find out the arrangements. All I know is not going to be more than 10. It'll be within our household. And that's what I've been telling everyone.
The official advice from the province, keep your Thanksgiving dinner to just your household. But if you live alone, it is okay to join another family for the holiday gathering. It's all to reduce the chances that Thanksgiving weekend makes Ontario's second wave of COVID-19 bigger than it already is. Mike Crawley, CBC News, Toronto.
The federal government has announced the purchase of millions of a new rapid COVID-19 test. It's the first antigen test approved by Health Canada, coming a week after the authorization of another rapid test. Catherine Collin has the details.
With so many waiting for testing and results, rapid tests may sound like a dream come true, but they're only part of the solution, say officials.
I think every tool that we add to the toolbox in terms of options for testing takes pressure off a testing system in general.
The federal government announced today it's buying at least 8.5 million antigen tests, the Abbott PanBio. The test still has to be done by a healthcare professional, and it still involves a swab. But the key, it's fast.
The results are available in about 20 minutes, sometimes even less.
However, the tests aren't quite as reliable as the testing method now widely used.
I think the reliability of this test particularly is that you may not pick up every single positive.
The test Canadians are lining up for now will still be the gold standard, say officials, but these tests can be used in other instances.
You could see this being used in a setting where, in my region, for example, a mining camp where it's hard to get to a clinic.
The Conservatives argue rapid tests are coming to Canada much too slowly.
Tests that they're talking about today won't be in the hands of Canadians till the end of the year. They had months to do this, and they failed, Mr. Speaker.
Federal officials say this is the fourth rapid test they've purchased, and they're negotiating for more.
So that if and when Health Canada approval occurs, we can quickly execute on those contracts and have the deliveries coming in quickly.
The real hope, though, is for more advancements in testing.
I would love more options available. I would love cheaper options available. I would love, saliva-based and home-based options, or ones that don't involve a healthcare provider available.
But he says the science just isn't there yet. Catherine Cullen, CBC News, Ottawa.
After nearly a year, Windsor's Ward 7 has a new city councillor. G1 Gill, a 53-year-old realtor, outpolled 11 other candidates to win the seat vacated by Eric Kuzmaricek. Today, he got a chance to see where he'll be spending his Mondays for the next few years.
I'm feeling very good and excited for a new job, healthier neighborhoods and safer communities. I'm going to promote that one and working towards making a road safety and parks and rec to be more accessible. You have to have a passion. It's not just during the election time you come up and knock at the doors and get it, but throughout the years, like, you can engage with the community, listening to them, talking to them, working with them, with the different organizations. That is what, always people see that this person has the ability to do something better for them. Windsor is the fourth diverse city, and if people see the diversity in job titles, they can see that they feel more aligned with that one. They are able to work up to their jobs, and that is what we want to bring it. We have a lot of people has a knowledge, information, and education, and that is what on the table you can present yourself. Sometimes that is where we need to be find a job opportunities, or where the diversity can be fulfilled, as it's shown on the map for the residents. Thank you all the voters who put in trust on me. And hopefully I'm going to work hard for them and fight for their concerns to find solutions.
Now, the official results of the election are being tabulated now, and they will then be made official, which is when Gill will be sworn in. It all should happen in time for him to represent his ward at the next City Council meeting that's set for October 19th. A state funeral today for John Turner, Canada's 17th Prime Minister. Justin Trudeau called him a great Canadian. He talked about an early connection to Turner.
As John used to tell it, he got a last-minute call from my father one Christmas Eve. Dad told him that Mom, who was very pregnant with me, would like to go to midnight mass with John and Gilles. John was caught off guard, but he managed to call Father O'Rourke at Mount Carmel Church to make arrangements. They made mass, went back to the Turner's house for a nightcap, and eventually went home, where my mother promptly went into labor. I was born the next morning.
Family and dignitaries sat physically distanced at St. Michael's Cathedral. Turner was remembered as a wonderful friend, a man of integrity, civility, and practicality. He led Canada for just 79 days back in 1984, but he was a longtime government minister. John Turner was 91. The River Bookshop in Amherstburg isn't just a spot to buy books. Behind a secret door upstairs is a space to listen, learn, and ask questions. The owner calls it the hole in the wall. Tomorrow night, they're going to host the first event of a series on racial justice.
Well, we came in through a mystery door. I mean, the hole in the wall has a history that exists in the Detroit River. It's the only space that a boater can go from one side to the other without having to turn. There's kind of a mystery about it. The rum runners definitely used it. Did freedom seekers, when they were ending the Underground Railroad, did they use it? We're not sure. So we wanted that kind of mystery of the 20s. The story's kind of fuzzy. To motivate us, we just tried to pick out an author that would represent what we wanted. And we picked out F. Scott Fitzgerald. Think of the Roaring 20s, rum running, Prohibition, Hemingway, Faulkner. It's a 1920s theme. As you can see, pretty comfortable. The art reflects authors and that era and artists.
Why create a space like this and why now?
Why not? You know, our values are to educate, entertain, inspire, and engage. This whole section, this club, can do just that. And now, even though the occupancy here is 50, your viewers will see that we've socially distanced it. We are also offering tomorrow night on Zoom. So we have people signed up as far away as Toronto already that can hear what's happening in Amherstburg.
Tonight is the season premiere of Still Standing. Host Johnny Harris pops out to unique places across Canada, again gets a crowd together, tells some jokes, shares some stories, and tonight it's all about Peely Island, the wine, the birding, but also the challenges that face the community, like high water levels.
You know, the erosion and whatnot is a real problem there because it's such a haven for wildlife, endangered wildlife. Of course, it's a very important migration point for monarch butterflies and birds of all kinds that are traveling basically from the tropics up to the borealis forest to mate. These are all things I learned from Sashi Schott, who's a ornithologist there.
I was invited to a very rare engagement, a get-together here. It only happens a couple times a year. I was invited to a public owling. Now, yeah, at first it sounds weird. Public owling, it sounds like some sort of corporal punishment from a Margaret Atwood novel. Right?
There is an island, not just an island thing, but I find sometimes, Chris, that the most insular communities sometimes make for the most interesting stories. Communities that are really sort of unto themselves, people rely on each other. You know, there's that sort of rural get-it-done attitude where you don't, you don't complain to town hall or city hall. You form a committee and get stuff done yourself. And so I hope people enjoy the episode. I hope we've done it justice. Yeah. It's hard to take a community and their plight and their future and their history and cram it into 22 minutes of TV time and hopefully have a few gags in there as well. So I hope we've done them justice, but I reviewed the episode very recently, actually made a few last minute tweaks, and I'm really happy with it. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff happening there, and I feel we've got like a pretty decent cross section of what's going on.
Still Standing airs tonight at 8 on CBC. It'll be on CBC Gem as well. A local woman got the surprise of a lifetime. A longtime fan of the TV show Scrubs, an American medical comedy that aired in the 2000s. The stars of that show, Zach Braff, Donald Faison, started a rewatch podcast during the pandemic, and they picked her as one of their guests.
They started having callers, and they're like, oh, if you want to be on the show, email Joelle at the Gmail account. So I did that right away, and I actually sent my tattoo in the email, saying, hey, I have a Scrubs tattoo. It's going to show me a lot to me, and I sent some questions, and I never heard anything back. And then I made that Twitter video from the I Ran Down the Ramp song. And they all saw that. And it's the producer of the show being like, hey, I'm looking for the person with the tattoo. And it was me. I literally just I was like, it's me. I'm the person. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my God. And then I look and it was yesterday. It was the day before. I'm like, I missed it. Like, oh my God, that was my opportunity. I totally blew it. So I'm tweeting, I'm emailing. So that was at 9 a.m. I'm like, it's me, Joelle, please. And then like hours go by and I get a direct message from her saying, hi, Katie. And I'm just like, it's happening. And then I'm like Scott Foley's going to be on the show. Cause like, so like, he's Scott Foley. Like, come on, he's a TV, like, megastar. And it took about 15 minutes for them to like let me in the room. So I'm just sitting there like trying not to freak out. I'm like singing Hamilton to try and calm myself down. Like, and then it literally, I didn't know how it would happen if like Dan would do like a sound check or anything, but like literally it just like popped up and then there I am and there they all are. And I was just like, and I kind of froze. Like I didn't talk for like 30 seconds because I'm just like, hi everybody, like, how's it going? And then, yeah, it was really, I honestly forget your question. It was just surreal. I literally blacked out and I'm trying to just remember. I had to write my questions down so I wouldn't forget them because again, the whole experience was overwhelming. And like, cause everyone's like, oh, you seemed like so prepared. I'm like, it's cause I had it written down because I would have forgotten them in the moment.
A lot of excitement there. They were so impressed with her tattoo. In video, they ended up giving her a gift, the first guest to get the honor, a pallet of kombucha. Now, she's excited to get that, and if you wanted to listen to her episode, it's Fake Doctors, Real Friends, episode 302, My Journey with Scott Foley. We take a look outside, a beautiful day to hit the trails here in Windsor, Essex. We're warm outside. Colette was promising stuff in the 20s, and we're pretty close. Let's see what she's got in store for us when she breaks down the forecast next. Joining us now for a live look at the weather is Colette Kennedy. I saw frost on a windshield, but it wasn't mine. God bless Facebook for the other people who are dealing with that, because we're still far off. Eh? Well, at least not today.
Yes, and I know, as you were saying, going into the break, Colette said into the 20s. Well, 20.6 technically is into the 20s. So we did make it. We did get there. Average high at this time of year, 18, and today's unofficial high, let's round it up. Let's just do it. 21 degrees with some sunshine. I know those winds a little bit breezy, but boy, at times tomorrow, especially tomorrow morning, they're going to be windy. So we'll take breezy. We'll take a day like today. Some really nice conditions there, certainly above seasonal, and still hanging in there 20 degrees, even if we're rounding it up at the moment. 19, Chatham, Kent, Leamington as well, coming in there, rounding up to 20 degrees. And you know, there's a system that, again, it's one of these ones that's going to mostly pull and the moisture go just kind of towards the north. So through the overnight hours towards Sarnia and London, maybe getting tagged by some showers, and it's probably unlikely, but putting in the risk there, likely. We're going to just stay dry though towards the Windsor area. But I do want to show you the wind. So this is picking it up in the overnight hours, 4 a.m. We're going to see some of these gusts. So again, for some coastal interests here, we could have some concerns there along the coast with some of the flooding. But it will at least be short-lived, that by tomorrow, by about noon, we're going to see these winds starting to die off, and by tomorrow afternoon, they'll be letting back again. That's good, and that will be seen by tomorrow evening down altogether. But looking at those showers, like I said, see the precipitation, most of it pulls well up towards Lake Huron and keeping it dry further towards the south, but still blustery in the morning hours. Look at these overnight temperatures, though. Speaking of mild, we're seeing those definitely above seasonal. Precipitation keeps it up to the north of us. Tomorrow afternoon, still looking at some good readings, but the difference is it probably won't feel as mild as today because those winds turn to the northwest. So the direction is very important in all of this. Thursday, 19, it will feel pretty good there. It's going to feel even better into Friday when we're talking 22. How about this? Saturday, holiday weekend? I don't know. I like the looks of that. We do have a front that's going to go through Saturday night into Sunday, though, so some showers possible in the overnight hours. And then looking into Monday, like we could get some wet conditions coming back too, Chris.
Still not a bad run at all. Thanks for this, Colette.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now, coming up after the break, the 2020 Nobel Prize for Physics has been handed out. We will show you to who and why next. Legendary musician Eddie Van Halen has died. A co-founder of the band Van Halen, he was considered one of the best guitarists in the history of rock. The speed, the control, the innovation won legions of fans and critical praise. His talent also helped propel his band to the top of the music world back in the 1980s. Chart toppers such as Jump and Panama are from that familiar catalog. Eddie Van Halen died after a long battle with cancer. He was 65 years old. The Church of England has issued an apology after an inquiry found that it failed to protect children from sexual predators within its ranks.
I've learnt to be ashamed again of the church.
The report says the church turned a blind eye to abusers for decades to protect its own reputation. The investigation found that between 1940 and 2018, close to 400 clergy or trusted associates were convicted of sexual offenses against children. It recommends that the churches of England and Wales introduce a policy on funding to support victims. 3 physicists have been awarded the 2020 Nobel Prize for Physics for their discoveries on black holes. Their reactions, very down to earth.
I hope I can inspire other young women into the field. There's so much that can be done.
The progress in the field has been just mind-boggling. It's just been fantastic, exciting every day.
And I think I'm just about old enough. I think, I'm only in my 90th year, so I guess that's okay.
Now, Roger Penrose's discovery in the dark corners of the universe, they date back to 1964. He'll get half the 10 million Swedish kroner, about $1.5 million Canadian, the prize for his work proving that black holes are a direct consequence of the general theory of relativity. Gez and Ganzel share the other half for discovering a colossal invisible black hole at the center of the Milky Way that is governing the orbits of stars. That's kind of making you feel bad or small on a Tuesday, the scale of what we're all involved in. It's 6:29 p.m. and that is it for CBC Windsor News. Don't forget, you can always go to our website, cbc.ca/Windsor. We're on social media too. You can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Power and Politics is up next. Thanks for watching. Make sure you and your family have yourselves a wonderful evening.